Rhythm is kind of an underrated topic in music education. To me, rhythm is what brings character to note choices. In fact, basic note choices can sound pretty amazing with great rhythms, and more advanced note choices can sound boring or even terrible with poor rhythmic choices. Here's an example of how rhythm adds some character to just a basic pentatonic scale. Here are the 5 things that I think helped me most to advance my rhythmic concept. First, listen to rhythmic players. I think this is the most efficient and effective way to change your own rhythmic concept. The best part is it requires no new acquired skills, it just goes right to the ears and changes what you hear. 2, explore primary subdivisions. So by that I mean eighths, eighth note triplets, sixteenths, 16th note triplets or sextuplets, quarter note triplets, and then hemiolas based on an 8th note and a 16th note. The goal is to feel each subdivision as its own time grid to play from. You should be able to count and tap each one of these subdivisions with a metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a triplet, 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 quarter note triplets, triplet, 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 8th note hemiola, sixteenth note hemiola, there's a process I use to incorporate these subdivisions into just about anything that I practice. I outline it in detail on my Patreon page. Tapping time feels. This one is fun. I just take a metronome and then tap a time feel. Just anything that I hear against that, and then I try to change it. And then I try to get back around to the original time field. The goal is just to explore what you hear and try to take things in a direction and see if you get mixed up, and if you get mixed up then you just start over again. But it's an interesting way to just try to get sounds out and explore different ways of thinking about time or hearing time. Notating solos are ideas that I transcribe from recordings. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll give 2 examples. Here's a B.B. King solo that I transcribed for students. The main thing we're looking at here is how these guys mix their rhythms. So it's not blocks of 8th notes or blocks of 16ths. They're all mixed up. 16ths next to 8ths, triplets intertwined with 8ths and 16ths. It's not a particularly natural thing to do. It's something that you benefit from practicing. Here's an Alan Holdsworth solo on Isotope. I transcribed this a long time ago, so I wasn't too concerned about how the chart was laid out. But just take a look at how the rhythms move between triplets and 8th notes and 16ths. Prior to college, I notated a lot of things with tab, but I was never actually writing down the rhythms. Taking the time to write them out made me more aware of what the different subdivisions sound like. Notating your own music is hugely beneficial. It makes it really clear what you hear and what you don't hear. If you write or improvise everything in one subdivision, you never use triplets, or never use 16ths, never use a particular subdivision, or you write everything in blocks of one subdivision and then another block of some different subdivision, that will show up in the notation. If you use the same rhythmic ideas over and over, you'll be able to see that in the notation. I've seen many people doing this and they have no idea. You'll also be able to manipulate things in ways that you might not have thought of if you were only using your instrument. Writing down your rhythms gives you an opportunity to reflect on what you know and what you can improve on. So all of these ideas come at the same problem from a different angle. I found them all to be useful in upping my rhythmic game. I hope you find them helpful as well.